on vengeance.
Welcome back, everybody. This is Mark 122 of the Super Civil Servants podcast. My name is Greg, the Bat Daddy 52, and sorry we started a minute or two late. We fell into a lightsaber hole. Just crawled our way out. We're ready to do the show now. We should have saved the lightsaber hole talk for the show. We can talk about it if we want to, but anyway, back this week, talking about the regular shows. Got my homies with me. Ross, what's up, buddy?
I am really interested in this lightsaber hole. Sounds, yeah. Put those two words together.
Yeah, it's kind of like Google search. Like you find two really fun words and put them together to see what Google search does. That's two words I could put together and have a fun time with. Lightsaber hole. Yes. Sarah, what's up?
Missed you guys last week, so but we have
Always
lots to talk about because there's been some really fun stuff going on.
We do. Actually, before we get started on the shows, me and Ross last week did a little thing that I think we could have as a little segment. It's kind of fun. It's called What We're Watching Now. And you didn't get to partake in that, Sarah. So me and Ross unloaded on a whole lot of stuff that we've been watching. I haven't been watching a whole lot of new stuff as the week's going, so there's not really a lot for me to add. But Sarah, what are you watching now?
Oh my gosh.
Just like in the last week or two. What's been on your television?
Cobra Kai.
Okay.
We have been making the hell out of Cobra Kai, and I'm loving it.
Yeah.
It's so fun.
It is.
It's because Brian, my husband, he was big on like the Karate Kid and that kind of thing. And I mean, I watched it, but I wasn't really, that crazy about it. I don't even know if I watched 2 or 3, but just the level of 80s memorabilia on this. I mean, I want to hang out with Johnny so bad. I mean, he was such an ass. He was such an asshole. But I'm like, this dude is so damn cool.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's been Cobra Kai, and
did you finish Cobra Kai?
We have not finished it yet because if it was up to me, I'd already been finished. But the kids have been watching, and of course, and the kids are in karate too. As a matter of fact, my kids are getting promoted to their yellow belts tomorrow. Yay for them.
Very nice.
On both of them. So I'm like, oh my God, now they can fight each other. That's not cool. But
I said bow. Bow.
But believe it or not, as combative as they are, they're very respectful when it comes to that. So when they are going through their, I don't even know what the hell it's called, but when they're practicing their whatever, it's they're very respectful of each other. Nobody's trying to kick each other's ass yet. So I mean, I guess this is a good thing. But
yeah, a bunch of each Nissan Chi, just running around the house screaming a bunch of different words.
And my daughter in her little gi is the cutest thing ever. It's just the cutest thing ever because she's a little toothpick and it's just got these. They look like little bell bottoms on. It's hilarious.
Are they all whites?
Yeah, they're white. They're white.
Yeah. I always remember I did like self-defense for like a few years. And I always remember the few kids that would always come in with like, stains all over their knees and elbows and stuff. And it's like, who chose white? Who thought that was a great idea?
Well, the first go around, first go around my son did. I want to say he had a black gi, but for this particular dojo, they're white. They can actually wear T-shirts instead of the actual coats. Oh. So they wear like the pant. Now my son, he wears the coat and the pants. My daughter, she
do they have the graphic prints of the gi?
No. The T-shirts. I mean, they're just But there are a lot of girls in there, so I think that's one thing that Claire she appreciates too. She I think she enjoys doing that with her brother, but I think the fact that there are the girls in it too that kind of helps. So it's been really interesting. I'll have to take a little snippet of it sometime and send it to you guys so you can see how hilarious it is.
Yeah.
I'm proud of them, don't get me wrong, but it's just crazy looking.
It's always fun to watch little kids do stuff like that. It's like watching little kids in like really little kids play a t-ball game, how the ball's hit and every kid runs to the ball no matter what. I know our kid's a little older than that, but it's still fun to watch kids do.
But my son, I mean, considering the fact that he's almost my size and he's 11, him doing his snap kicks and whatnot, I'm thinking, this dude's gonna get a lot bigger and he's gonna probably get a lot more dangerous. I'm like, yeah,
Better
that's
watch
my
out.
boy.
That's right.
All you gotta do is you gotta catch that ankle,
But he knows.
and then you just whoop.
He knows
Mhm.
Mama can bring him back down. So
Always.
he's very aware of that.
Don't matter how tough you get. That's right. That's right.
But for the most
Whip
part,
out
that's
that Dark Saber.
absolutely. But for the most part, I mean, that's what we're kind of living right now. I mean, other
Okay.
than Book of Boba Fett, but
Yeah. I started watching season 4 of Ozarks this week. Holy fucking shit. I forgot how good that show is. Oh my gosh.
I haven't gotten down it. Be careful.
There's not
I haven't
look,
got
look, I'm not gonna spoil anything, but there's not many shows that you can like genuinely be like on the edge of your seat, like holy shit, what's gonna happen? What's gonna happen next? Like, oh my gosh, this show does that for me, where I'm legitimately scared for this character. I don't know what's gonna happen for this character next. Like, you could be dead any second. Like, I love that. No stake or tons of stakes in the show. So
I was just going to say that about Cobra Kai, but when you bring up Ozarks, that show rides the line perfectly between like a confusing drama to where you're not sure how you want to feel. Like your brain is honestly confused with like the rest of your body because you want to be scared or you want to be worried for this character, but at the same time, like they're not going to do something super stupid. They're going to save it to the end of the part 1, or they're going to save it for the finale, which I mean this will be the series finale. But I mean, same thing for like Cobra Kai. They ride that line of like teenage drama to a point to where you're like, it's corny. It is super, super duper corny. But I'm going to sit here and watch the whole entire thing.
Oh, yeah.
But I love the fact that with Cobra Kai, it's like they're bringing the original characters back to see how they've aged, and to know that I'm like, okay, you're a little bit older than I am, but I totally feel where you're coming from.
Mm-hmm.
And then I think I read somewhere that they got a season 5.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure they did.
So I'm like, and I think there's even a conversation of season 6. I'm like, oh my gosh, I just wonder how far they can take this out.
I just hope it stays good. That's the thing.
So the problem is you get that far down the hole, like when you have like a really good first season, you could just about like Picard, prime example.
A lot of whole talk.
Great first season, but they want to turn around and give you a second and third season because they know they can.
But once you get to that 4th or 5th season, that's where it might get kind of.
It's where a show goes from a good show to like an elite show or a great show, or just like kind of like, okay, that was good while it lasted, and it kind of fell out. The Flash for me, to be honest with you.
It depends how much filler they decide, or how many filler episodes they decide to put in there.
Right.
It doesn't. Does it really add to the story, or is it just something like, okay, we're just going to kind of. We got so many episodes that we got to fill this in.
I watched. I caught up on Prodigy. I put it on just because. 30-minute show, 20-minute show. Same time, like when we first started talking about that show, a bunch of filler episodes or so. It feels like a Star Trek show now. And I mean, it's a Star Trek cartoon for kids. Don't get me wrong, but at the same time, and like it's something decent enough. And they've already talked about bringing it back for its second season. Some shows I don't understand, but then again, Netflix cancels things on just like if they wake up feeling bad. Like if
we got to cut
whoever's in charge of the show.
Yeah.
It's just like, what was it? Was it Jupiter's Legacy?
Mm-hmm.
I'm like, I watched this and I'm like, I'm invested in it now. I wouldn't know what's going on. They're like, oh yeah, we cancel that. Damn it. Are you serious?
There had to be something
Cowboy Bebop.
Cowboy Bebop. Another one. Yep. Yeah. Another one that I thought they did a great job with. I was invested. I was interested. Give me season 2 and bam. Yeah.
But was it they just did the Masters, so now they're going to do Masters of the Universe live action. They just that's coming out
live action.
And they have He-Man already cast.
Who do they? Do you have a name?
I did. I'll look it up real fast, but I know that Sony had the script and like the want to actually do this, and so after they held on to it for too long, I think that at the end of the day, they just didn't want to keep doing it. I guess they sold it to Netflix is what I read. And then like, they're going to start filming it this summer. You guys are busy looking it up. I was going to look it up. Yeah. I was sitting there trying to figure it out too.
I see a picture, but I can't find a name.
Kyle Allen. Not the one we're thinking of.
Wow, when you said that, I had to do a double take. I was like, wait a minute, what?
Me too. I was like, I
Wait,
read that. I was
what?
like, hold on, wait a minute.
Okay.
Yeah, so they released that, and but 2 weeks ago they raised the prices, and then the day after they raised their prices, no, actually the same day they raised their prices, they lost like $50 million in stocks. I mean, they make fantastic moves, but they're gambling because sometimes when they make stupid moves, it doesn't seem to be paying off very well for them. But their market is so big. I mean,
Right.
their
They're
foreign
kind of
market,
big stack right now at the table,
yeah.
They can kind of push people around, do what they want to do. They can kind of set the tone for the market. They've been there. Like it doesn't matter how good anything else has gotten right now. Once again, I haven't seen Apple TV, but nothing's going to surpass Netflix at the moment.
No, I mean they've done their homework. They know how like I said, a cockroach and Netflix will be the last two things. And then the streaming wars. But we get let's see, we get that Reacher show comes out. We get a Halo trailer on CBS during the
I don't know
AFC
how I'm gonna feel
Championship
about
game.
that, to be honest
The
with
trailer's
you.
coming out, so we're gonna tell.
Yeah, I mean, but even so, it's just video game movies just generally don't do it for me, man. But we're gonna see.
What about
We're gonna
movies turn
see.
video games?
That's a little different.
Because you're gonna get 3 new Star Wars games.
Yeah. I mean, don't get me wrong. I've seen it be done. I thought the Mortal Kombat movie was good. I mean, there's ones out there. It's just maybe it's because I'm not invested in Halo. Like, I liked Halo when I was in college for a few years, and then it just kind of fell off the map for me, and just maybe it's just me.
Well, apparently, if you loved Halo at any point in time, right now, was it what's the new game? What's it called? Infinite? Is it Halo Infinite?
Oh, the one that came out like however many months ago.
My other half, he is playing the shit out of it right now.
I'm sure I could hop on it right now and have a good time with it.
Halo was his jam back in the day.
Yeah.
But this new game is like a combination of like the best parts of like all of them from what I hear. So.
Oh yeah, he's loving it. He's absolutely loving it.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I mean, for me, you can hop on Gears of War, Halo, Call of Duty, any of these games. I can hop on and have a good time.
Movie.
I just don't invest my time into them anymore.
I love Phoenix.
Gears of War movie would be weird.
Well, because it's like I never play Gears of War because that's just not the type of game I play. I mean, I stick to the Lego games. I'm not gonna lie, because it's there's
fun.
too many axes for me to kind of. But I would watch Brian play Gears of War, and man, I love that shit because it's like you're watching. I mean, it's just so. But then again, that's where your games were getting, your imagery, your video, all that. It was just getting better and better. It didn't really feel like a game, not like your typical, because you had more of it was more cinematographic or whatnot, but it was just more fun to watch. So I felt like I was watching a movie, especially cutscenes, man. That's when the cutscenes were getting a hell of a lot better.
Cutscenes for games are.
But Dave Bautista, I'm like, if that's not Phoenix right there, I'll kiss your ass.
Yeah, no,
that's right. What I want to see.
I'll tell you though, I've been debating on buying a new gaming system. I just don't game that much anymore, but it'd just be cool to have. I mean, I don't know. I feel like having a gaming system is kind of like having a television. You should have one in the house if you have kids and everything. So I'm thinking about a PlayStation, but I just bought my daughter a VR, and I'm not gonna lie, man, that's the future of gaming. I've only gotten on it once, but my kids would rather get on a VR, and I think I would too, any day of the week before picking up a PlayStation controller and playing a game. Like, it's just amazing.
That Oculus is crazy, dude.
VR is finally here. We've been waiting for years, Ross. We've been hearing about this since we were kids.
Dude,
it's finally here.
I send him out. I send him out back to go play in the yard with his VR set on. I gotta take video of it for you guys because I'm gonna tell you right now, it's absolutely hilarious.
Yeah.
If we didn't have a fence, I'm pretty sure I would get like, child services called on me.
Yeah.
I'm not telling you how many times Gage has hit doors or like walked into walls. He's like, be still. He's like, I can't. He's like this.
Honestly, it's crazy because it was just a few years ago when the first Oculus came out, and it was like you could put your phone in it. And I'd bought a phone and I'd gotten one, and it was amazing. I could like watch a basketball game from different views in the stadium, like from the sidelines. So I could sit at the scorer's table and watch a basketball game live, and it was amazing for me. But the gaming wasn't quite on point. But I was like, well, it's got other stuff. The Netflix feature was great. It felt like sitting in a theater. You know, you're watching a little bitty tiny screen, just this big,
Mhm.
but they make it feel like you're sitting in a theater. It's crazy.
Or if you're
And
like,
I loved it.
the thing that got me is like when you're in this theater because you're like your little avatar, and you turn and there's like somebody right here. You're like,
Yeah.
and you know they're not there, but you're
Right.
like,
Just doing
They're
something they're
there.
not supposed to.
and you can like throw popcorn at them, and they're
Two
like,
people
"What?"
behind
You're
you
like,
making
"Sorry
out.
about that."
Mhm.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
crazy
the VR is
experience.
definitely here. If I invest in another gaming system, it's probably going to be just a PlayStation VR because I'm sure that that's pretty on point too. You know, just for my
I've got
PS4.
so many gaming systems in this house.
Yeah, we've got a lot too.
I can't tell you how many Xboxes we probably have.
I said goodbye to Xbox a while back. I just, you know, my
We're
dog peed
Xbox
on it, and I was like, you know what? I'm going back to
faithful
being a
in here.
PlayStation guy. I mean, I liked
We do
Xbox.
have
Don't get me wrong.
PS4.
Huh?
I said we do have a PS4
PS4, 2 Xboxes, Oculus, computers,
because we had to get that for the Spider-Man
iPads.
game.
Yeah, but you
Oh,
have
yeah.
Switches because we have the Switches, and I have the
Sold a
And the
Switch.
Switch.
Nintendo
Yeah.
system with 640 games on it. It's great.
And we got
Kids
the
only
both
wanted to play
Oculus.
Zelda. I'm like, I'm not holding on to the Switch for Zelda. Sorry.
Sorry. I got Brian Zelda for the Switch for Christmas, actually for his birthday. And
If it was an adult or me, like it'd be a different story. But like I'm not holding on to it when they have all the other ones because you know what happens is like I spent 3 hours playing one game. Now I want to go play another one. I'm like, you need a break before you have a problem because you're going to be sitting there at like
try going from the Xbox.
14.
Yeah, my son needs to have a some therapy because it's either the laptop for YouTube, so he's got to look and see how other people playing the shit. Then he's like, "Can I play the VR? Okay, you can play that for a little bit. Can I play Xbox? Oh my god, dude, stop!" And then you're trying to tell him, he's like, "I gotta play." I'm like, "No."
Yeah.
Yep.
It's the way of
I
the world,
can't
man.
have a conversation unless it's about a game, and I'm like, nope. If you're not going to talk to me about something else, like we're
And
not going to talk.
Yeah, yeah. My kids are like,
It's
I mean, it's just
terrible.
the age, you know. Like for mine, it's just the age. At least they got phones, they have tablets, they have computers, they have gaming systems. I mean, they're entertained. You know, like,
when
Are you
when I
not
was at your
entertained? I
house,
mean,
yeah,
when I was at your house, both your girls were in there playing games, and like
Yeah.
you just hear them like talking to everyone else, and
yeah. So
after a while, like I'm like, shut up, because they do the same thing here, and I'm like, I can't take it anymore.
well, you've seen my house. Like, luckily, I've got like the kids side of the house and the adult side of the house. So, like, you know, they're entertained. I don't
y'all the
hear
kids
them.
stay upstairs.
Yeah. So,
All three of them.
all right. Well, let's get into some shows. Unless y'all had something else you want to bring up, any kind of news, some crazy show you watched this week you want to talk about? Anything out there?
I
Not at the moment.
watched the Marvel one shots again because they showed back up on Disney Plus.
Yeah.
That was a little short. They're like passion projects. I mean, you get what's his name, Louis Desposito, whatever, one of the big three from MCU.
Mhm.
They're the real short clips, you know, there are things that like happen in between the movies, or like how the Agent Carter show spun off onto like its own thing. Anywhere between 5 to like 15 minutes, fun little things to watch. But
It's
really,
like watching a quick YouTube video.
yeah, I mean,
That's probably worth it.
you know, last week we had 2 weeks of stuff to catch up on. This week I haven't really watched a whole lot other than the fantastic shows we're about to talk about.
Hell yeah. Well, let's get to it. And as Nathan so eloquently put it in the chat room, and I'm saying too, let's talk about Mandalorian Season 3, Episode 1 this week, y'all, because it was a really, really great episode of Mandalorian. Like, I loved this episode.
So right off the bat, can I do like a little, you know?
Do it. Yes.
That's the first thing you see. I'm like, are you kidding me?
Sarah always has new toys to show off, and she's got a beautiful one there in that Dark Saber.
Yeah.
Lovely. Now, I told her I was going to go on Target.com and look at it afterwards because I might end up making it perfect. So, I don't know. But no, this was a great episode this week of Book of Boba Fett. The problem was it wasn't an episode of Book of Boba Fett. Like, I know it was even named The Return of the Mandalorian, but I thought that for just like 5 minutes, it would have something to do with Boba Fett in it, but it really didn't. It was a complete episode about Mandalorian that really had nothing to do with Boba Fett until the very, very, very end, which is okay because it was still a really good episode. It just didn't make sense, the placement of this one here for me. So, thoughts, y'all? Or actually, I know neither one of y'all care because both of y'all love the episode. Like I said, I did too. I love the episode. It's just one thing that got to me. But
Well,
I know
what I
neither one of
love
y'all care.
about the Book of Boba Fett, for me, I feel like it's like a book. It's a book full of chapters. So if you're saying the Book of Boba Fett, this is just one chapter to kind of add to it, because I know a lot of people have criticized it with like the flashbacks, all the backstory adding to it. But that's what I love about it, because it was kind of like the conversation I was having with Brian anyways, because when you're thinking about Boba Fett, and I think I've said this before, I want to know what happened from the Sarlacc pit to the time that you see him show up in the Mandalorian. I want the filler between, and that's what we're getting right now. So you have all these backstories to say, okay, because honestly, the fascination with Boba Fett, I mean, really, how much did you really know about him as a character? Now, I know there's been, like in the, like comics, that kind of thing, but, I'm just going off of films here. It's just this one character that everybody just flocked to, but what did you really know about him? So now this series actually gives, to me, it's fleshing into character, because, but I'm just loving, and I think the fact of you see Boba show up in Mandalorian, so now they're merging the two. So, because at some point, Mando was going to show up again. Din Djarin was going to show up again.
Well, they laid it on so heavy last episode, all the musical cues, and
yeah,
like
exactly.
You knew where they were going.
But with this episode here, especially the fact of, with the armor, and that's one thing about the armor that gets me. And even though I love this character so much, she's so black and white, and that happens to be with the sect of this particular Mandalorian. It's like you take off your helmet, oh, that's it, you're done. I don't care what your reasoning is. You remove your helmet, that's it. Like she said, that's the way. You removed it. I'm not even gonna say you gone or nothing like that. She's like, you know what that means. And so I think that's just a way of him to kind of, especially talking about Bo-Katan, because you learn that there are different sects for Mandalorians. They all, they do take off their helmets. They do this. It's just like a lot of people question, with Boba Fett, is he a true Mandalorian? Well, I mean, I don't know. It's just crazy, just the way they're going and the way they're setting it up. So it's almost like they're giving Mando an out.
That's one very key thing
mm-hmm.
that I thought instantly, because the way that he sat there hesitating on how he was going to answer the question. I mean, you knew that he was going to say yes. It's like he was mapping out which path it would take him depending
mm-hmm.
on what word came out of his mouth. And it's almost like he's realizing that there is more than what he knew. But you see Mando progressing in so many different ways. I mean, you look at him with the droids, you look at him with, he's starting to try to figure out the Dark Saber. He has a hole in his heart for Grogu. All these different things, you see him kind of like evolving. And so it felt, I use one word all the time when it comes to all the things that we talk about. And it's why I'm a big MCU guy and what I've wanted in my Star Wars. And that is that connectivity. I want the tissue there to bind it all together. And like you said, they're calling it a book, the Book of Boba Fett. There's only 7 episodes, which means there's 2 left. Where is it going to leave us at? How are they going to wrap it up? Because you know what? I don't think that they're going to wrap it up. I think
But
it's
if you
going
look
to be
at
a
it too,
continual story.
you're talking about
universe.
I'm okay if they do that.
It's like you're seeing Din Djarin, you're seeing him evolve, you're seeing him change. Well, Boba Fett's doing the same thing. So it's almost
People
like
just don't like it.
Well, yeah, I mean, but what did you really expect? I mean, it's like, what did you really know of Boba Fett?
I've said that countlessly. People are once again unhappy because they have their own image of their head. Same thing that was with Luke. You have your own image in your head of what you expected things to be afterwards.
Mm-hmm.
And I mean, rightfully so. We had Legends and everything else with all the other stories. Wiping that out meant that everything that you thought was true does no longer exists. So
Not everything's
all of
black
our
and white.
feelings, all of our
Yeah.
feelings are essentially, you just got to hold on to that shit until you see what happens. Then you can form new ones, which is hard for people to do.
It's very, very hard to do, and that's what I'm trying to do with it, because it's Star Wars. It's gonna be, I'll give it to the end, and I know that I'm not gonna hate it. Let's put it that way. I got a list of things I wanted to go over here while we break down this episode. So let's start breaking down. I'm going to talk about the only, other than the only being a Mando show, which, like I said, I still love the show. I'm going to talk about the only other thing that really bothered me in this episode, and then I'm going to talk only good stuff about it. The Dark Saber. While it's a badass looking saber, and I love the hilt, and Sarah, that one you've got is fantastic, it does not look good on this show. The CGI for the blade does not look good on the show. I don't know if it's because it's a blade like a pirate blade and it's an actual blade shape or what. It does not look good. Any lightsaber blade I've ever seen before this in any fashion looks better than this to me. I don't know why.
Well, it's just a different shape. I mean, it's
disagree
different...
with you completely.
I get that. And yeah, it's just totally my opinion. I just don't like the way it looks. I'm just like, it doesn't do it for me. It doesn't make me want that lightsaber. Good.
The whole entire animated show gave us the stark difference between the lightsaber and the dark saber.
Mm-hmm.
And they made it so apparent. They made the noise, the way that it looked. They made all these things apparent. And I'm telling you, bringing that thing live action held true. You got Dave Filoni doing it.
Yeah. Nick says I'm wrong.
I'll admit. Nothing is cooler in this episode except... nothing can top him slicing the dude in half, the Klatooinian in half, right off the bat. Right out the gate, he comes in and he lays that sucker down. I mean, he can barely pick it up, but he lays it down. So,
yeah, I mean,
it looks bad.
The fight scenes with it were cool. Like I said, and maybe, like I said, it's just me, I guess, then, because I just, maybe it's just a different looking blade. It threw me off. I just love the old fashioned look of the lightsaber.
It takes a lot to get used to, but you watch the Clone Wars, which is why I'm kind of interested that you're not a fan of it.
I mean, I don't know. Like I said, but
the one thing I thought was really interesting. The one thing I thought, and I was like, did it really happen? He nicked himself. I'm like, did you really do that? But then you know what? I'm thinking, if you aren't really trained and really know how to handle this, how can that not happen to anybody else?
I agree.
It sold me. 100%. I'm telling you, the first 5 minutes of this episode were they made the episode, and the whole entire thing was from there. It was just like you were just riding the wave down the whole entire time.
Mm-hmm.
He's picking on me. I'm watching. Yes, I know. I'm just telling you. I don't know. There's something about this episode. I don't know what it was. Maybe it's me. Sorry.
Well, that's fine. Everybody can have their opinion. That's fine.
Yeah.
But you can be wrong. It's fine. It's perfectly fine too.
Exactly. Yeah. All right. Let's talk about this N1 Starfighter, man. How cool was that? How cool was that reveal?
I heard it.
I hadn't been looking up anything on the show, so it was a total surprise for me.
I heard it. I try my best to stay away from spoilers, but I heard it like right after episode 4 that his new ship was going to be an N1. Let me tell you what my complaint is with it. He's a bounty hunter. So unless they're going to shift his occupation, because he had a ship that had everything that he needed, I don't get it.
He's got to tone it down a little bit. Or they take nothing but heads.
Yeah. Droid thing, so you can carry one person at least.
And that's, what I heard too, because my mind automatically went to Grogu. Like somehow they're going to weave this full back in here, which by all means, they can give him a little chainmail suit or whatever his deal's going to be. It's going to look badass. But my mind automatically went to Grogu in that little bubble. And everyone else that I've heard talk about it was mentioning that they're like, oh, we just figured he was going to stick stuff in there. I'm like, but it's the perfect size for him.
It's definitely, you're going to see Grogu again. I mean, I even think they're leaning to the point where Grogu is not even going to go down the path of a Jedi. He's going to go down whatever path Mando takes him.
I think that they may be trying to find a way to weave Grogu and the Mandalorian to be the saviors of the Mandalorian culture. There's something that they're diving into that is deeper here that I think that they could tell a massive story around. And I'm telling you, it's veiled right now, like you can't see it, but enough things are pointing that direction to where I'm really getting interested in like what they could do with the story, because we know that Luke doesn't make it for for super long, so Grogu's got to go somewhere. If he doesn't die, then what are they going to do with him?
Oh, he's not going to die. I don't think. I think you would have an uproar if he died. That'd be like killing Chewbacca, man. You just don't do it. It doesn't happen. So, well, okay. So that's a. I like that idea too, building the Mandalorian culture. But here's the thing: is like even in this episode, there's only 3 left. Like that's what they said. There are 3 of us for the last. Maybe just of their mindset.
Yeah.
Okay. And
no, just the 3 of their sect that came off of Navarro. Okay. So the ones that were there, and then that what do they call that? Culvert.
Yeah.
The ones that they had together, only 3 of them were left. Okay. But there's plenty of Mandalorians left. They're scattered all over the place. We're jumping all over the place here. Now all I can think about is that Terminator scene and the massive, fantastic theatrical production that was
Night of a Thousand Tears.
Night of a Thousand Tears.
Finally got to see it. Like that was pretty cool.
Because the last time we heard about it, I think what was it? Moff Gideon was saying something.
He was describing it.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. But
it was very Terminator-esque.
The whole everyone kept on saying Bo-Katan and like the Clone Wars, and I was like, I'm pretty sure I know that it mixed between Clone Wars and Rebels, but I felt like a large chunk of that was in Rebels, with the Dark Saber and going down that path, and how that is why all of that stuff happened to Mandalore. Which, take it for what you will, still seeing it was fantastic. Sad but fantastic. I mean, dude, those TIE bombers looked excellent. And there's so many of them. I mean, they were just laying waste.
It just kind of surprised me. There was like no defense at all for Mandalore in that. But I guess they just showed a quick snippet of it. I don't know any of the details. It could have been a surprise.
How do you defend against that? I mean, it was an onslaught of TIE bombers.
Sure, but then why wouldn't you just do that every time you want to take somebody out? If it was that simple, you know what I mean?
Well, that's a pretty big concerted effort there. So, I mean, you got to have.
I guess they did build the Death Star. They were trying to do that, just destroy the whole planet.
Yes, I mean,
they probably had that idea too, and they're like, you know what? Let's make it easier. Let's just shoot lasers for one ship.
Well, I mean, you want all those assets. I mean, Mandalorian culture is probably the one that can stand up to you, and you want all the assets of all the Beskar. You know, they came in with their the KY droids or whatever, the K2SO wannabes, and then all the pro droids. I mean, all those scenes are fantastic.
Yeah, actually, that brings me to another point I want to bring up. I thought it was pretty cool. We were talking about the armor earlier, and how her character. I did love that they brought up the point that he couldn't have the spear because it defeated the point of having the armor altogether. There should be nothing out there that can pierce Mandalorian armor, Beskar, and that was cool.
Oh, the little the whistling,
whatever
things. Like, they're weapons.
Oh, I thought for sure whenever he had to empty his weapons into that crate, I was like, they're focusing on the Dark Saber. It's not going to be in there whenever he gets back. But
it was so fun because
he took out his entire
his spool of cable.
Yeah, I was like, are you serious? It's like, oh my god, and all the little whistler things too. I was like, oh my god, it'll take you forever to put that shit back.
I used to have to discriminately hold a whole bunch of stuff while I was in the military in my pockets, and I would load them up with stuff because I hated not having the right tool when I was going out to work on something, right? And so it felt like me coming home from work and just pulling everything out of my pocket and putting it in the place where it needed to go. I was like, I know what that's like. It sucks.
Yeah. You know what else I noticed too? Just a little nitpick about Mandalorian armor is how come they wear thigh armor on the front but not on the back of their legs?
Well, I mean, no one wants cold steel against a hamstring.
Stormtroopers do. They have cold plastic.
They're plastic.
Yeah. True.
And I just thought about that, and I was like, they can't shoot with a damn neither. So.
Yeah. I mean, don't get me wrong. Mando's armor looks better than Boba Fett's armor, but both of them are very, very vulnerable armor suits. You know,
maybe they
probably easy to move around in, but very vulnerable.
Well, yeah, probably maneuverability, and plus they're probably more so have to, front strikes versus rear.
I
That
don't
kind
know.
of
He
thing.
was getting melee with some laser bolts. They were that opening scene. He was just it was just bouncing all over
I didn't
him.
say it was right. I'm just thinking maybe
Yeah.
that's what they.
Although I will say, if you can stop a lightsaber with your arm gauntlet, I wouldn't complain about the armor that much. I probably don't have much to complain about.
But you
Which
lose
that
the
was
spear.
pretty
The
cool.
spear was really cool. I mean,
Mhm.
I am kind of TO that they got rid of the spear. It was a weapon that clearly someone else who wanted to fight Jedi wanted to have.
Mhm.
But I mean, shit, it was cool.
Yeah. So
And that was
what
a
did
whole,
they?
that was
What
a
did he
whole
make?
chunk of Beskar.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, I mean, what did he make Grogu? A chain link, like
They
suit,
have
like
a
they
little
had
hat. I
in
mean, I don't
medieval
know. It
times.
has to be small.
Very small, because it was wrapped up in the little thing
It
that
even had like
happened to
little
look
ears
just
on
like
the.
Grogu's head. Yeah. What a
Yeah,
surprise.
Exactly.
the way that it was wrapped was really cool.
Yeah.
I heard a theory that what if whatever he's getting
Necklace.
made is the thing that saves him if he is in the temple purge from Kylo. It's like, like what if Kylo comes up and like tries to kill Grogu and like his little chainmail vest or whatever he's wearing
I'm
ends up
thinking
like
that might be
saving
maybe
him.
like a little something he could put here. Kind of like a little
Yeah.
chest piece, maybe.
Interesting. Wear it
Something.
under your clothes. Yeah. We'll see. I'm sure.
It can't be a weapon because if he's trained to be a Jedi, it's got to be defensive. It can't be offensive.
It's true. And I'm sure by now
It's
he
not
probably
like,
has
and
a
it's not like a
lightsaber.
little lightsaber hilt. So
I want to see Grogu's lightsaber. It's going to be awesome. I know it will be. I'm trying to think. Anything else about this episode I wanted to point out? I mean, we got to see the mechanic again. What's her name? She's a nice reoccurring character. I like him having kind of a home base to go back to. That's pretty cool.
When are we going to see Cal Kestis?
I don't think you're going to. I think you just saw a BD droid.
But that's the thing about it. It's like when you saw, I don't know. I've always had because Brian played Fallen Order, that kind of thing. Because when Cal first found his little BD, it had like the little bum leg.
Gimp.
So I'm just like, I don't know.
Yeah, no,
it would be cool to see him.
They did a fantastic job showing off. I mean, first off, Easter eggs galore. This whole episode was just chocked full of. I mean, what I'm telling you, I was sitting there watching it the first time, and I was like pausing, and I'm like, okay, where did that come from? Okay, I got it. Move on to the next thing. So I'm sitting there trying to like cycle through all that stuff
analytical.
in my brain. Yeah. But the BD droid did when he asked him where the part goes, and like he showed him like the 3D
He did like a
rendering.
scan.
That's like from the video game. Like that whole entire thing is like, well, here I can show you how that works. I don't think you're gonna get Cal. I mean, it's just me. But then again, they're coming out with the second game, and if they're gonna use the same person, maybe they'll tie those strings together.
Well, because Fallen Order happened after Revenge of the Sith, correct?
Mm-hmm.
And I think Cal was around 17. So if you fast forward now, so I mean, dude that was playing, or that they had, I can't remember the actor's name. But I mean,
I don't remember either.
Age would fit.
I'm not saying it's not a perfect storm, but
well, even
until
when
they do it.
Even the Mandalorian, when they put Grogu on that stone, because I think wasn't one of the things that Cal was able to do was like read the artifacts or something.
Yeah,
you know what I'm talking about?
Force echoes.
Because that was a big thing too. Is like, was a possibility? Would you possibly see him? Could he be the Jedi? So,
yeah, it'd be interesting. It's opening up a whole new group of characters. That's
hell,
cool.
just
let
it
Star
fly.
Wars.
Just
We
let it
can
go.
tell stories about
Bring it all.
Skywalker stuff.
I'm telling you, I am down for
let it all connect. Let it all connect.
It all. Yes.
Yeah.
Because the only thing that struck me a little sideways was hearing Mando say "wizard." That was like, and it wasn't bad. It's just like I'm like, oh.
But I had to go back and look at where that was from, though.
Oh, I knew exactly where it was from. I just didn't want to picture it again in my head. And so when he said wizard, I'm like, I'm going to take it because they just straight up rat rotted an N1 starfighter. So what they did with that thing was atrocious. but I like it. I mean,
So
they
you didn't like
destroyed.
the chromed out look. You're not talking about the paint job. You're talking about that little the headers and stuff they put on the top of it to make it look like a muscle car.
So they put an air
Exactly.
cleaner
That's
on
what I was
top
like.
of
He
it.
has a muscle car now because it was
Yeah.
like
As soon as she wheeled that thing in, I'm like, they're gonna put a filter on this bad boy. It's gonna be sitting right on top, and they sure as hell did. But the only thing that bothers me is that being like a car guy, my beef is that like they married all of these different types, like import and muscle and like a show car, and they turned it into a rat rod looking sleeper, and like they put all these things together. And so when he spun it up, the sound of it was such a hodgepodge of noises that it was cool how they did it, because at first everything felt so distinctive, and then as it like kept on going together, it was like finally like the whole thing was like oscillating, and it finally made like a noise together when he started to fly it. And that was really cool for me, because that would make sense. When you first start something, it takes a minute for it to, they call it harmonize or symbiote,
get that idle going on.
pretty much, yeah, for everything to time up perfectly. And I mean, assuming you don't blow it up.
Dude, I was
half
so
expecting
waiting for
to blow up.
something to pop.
But I mean, when that thing took to the air,
oh yeah, it'd be fun to fly. Yeah, I always say I'd like to fly a TIE fighter, but that'd be a fun one to fly too.
dude, when he was spinning that sucker, just like end over, or well, I guess tip to tip, watching all of watching the planet in the background, the stars in the background, watching all of it was perfect. I mean, it was such a shot.
Oh, you know what? I actually, I thought Nathan says in the chat, do you notice the pole the Jawas got Mando was the same part Han used to stop the trash compactor in New Hope? When I saw it, I recognized it, and I was like, where have I seen that before?
But I was like, did the same thing. He was like, isn't that the same? Yeah, he's like, isn't that the same part? I'm like,
that is really cool. And
my mind automatically thought they're putting trash on this motherfucker.
Well, I thought that was pretty cool how they did that with the Jawas, with the mechanic speaking Jawa. She state one, and they could find anything. I was like, that's pretty cool.
How the hell do you date a Jawa?
That's what she said. I mean, everybody has their thing.
She said they're furry.
Everybody has their thing.
How you getting that hairball, girl? How are you getting that hairball?
Take it back to the 70s right now. So, all right. Well, is there anything else about this one? We got what? 2
Amy
episodes
Sedaris,
left.
that's her name. I know I had that down.
Yeah.
Amy Sedaris, that's her the actress's name.
Okay. Yeah. I'm digging the show to the point. It's fun. It's not better than Mandalorian. There's something to be said that the best episode that I've heard anybody so far say this episode's the best episode of Book of Boba Fett is a complete Mandalorian episode. That's a problem. Now, it was still a good episode, but good.
A lot of people just aren't happy with the story they're getting from Boba Fett, like I said before, because they have the built-up image in their head. Sure. I mean, until you can get past that, I mean, like, look, we don't know Jack. They're giving us, like, he just got his ship back. Like last week we kind of touched on it, and then you had to roll. But I don't understand. You got to let things like evolve. And I mean, a lot of people are really on that. If the first few episodes don't get me, then like I don't want to watch the whole entire series. And I can get that, but at the same time, it's going to take you away from now Mandalorian, and then this. I'm assuming they're going to roll all of these shows together. At some point we have to have Ahsoka meet Luke.
Are they going to have a DC crossover show?
I mean, just
middle of the season, everybody takes a break.
Something, yeah.
Comes back for a big crossover.
Well, maybe that's what they meant. Mandalorian. Nobody knew about him. He was a totally completely new character. I mean, you had an idea of what a Mandalorian was, but this kind of took it to a whole new level. But now with Boba,
that's how they got away with it.
Yeah, and that's probably the reason why. Because a lot of people, like you said, they have this set, image, but really there's not. If you think about it,
you're right. You're absolutely right. I mean, it's everybody's expectations not being met, and that's why they're not liking it. And I'm liking Book of Boba Fett. It's just not as good as Mandalorian for me. Like I said, this for me was the best episode of this series so far, and it was a totally Mandalorian episode, and that's a problem for the show.
But you didn't go into Mandalorian
with any expectations.
You needed answers right off the bat.
Exactly.
You didn't need to know how he got out of a Sarlacc pit. You didn't need to know any of that stuff. So,
Yep. They American instant gratification. That's right. And you're talking about that, Ross. Like
That's
people
why
who will watch like 3 episodes of a show and not give it a chance. If it's a 7-episode show and it's the first season I'm into it, I'm watching the whole thing all the way through. It doesn't matter. If it's like I'm 3 seasons behind and there's 23 episodes a season, I'm watching the first like 4 or 5 episodes, and if I'm not into it, I'm not investing the rest of the time in the rest of the seasons. But this is different for me at least.
Yeah. I tell people all the time, like with Parks and Rec, I'm like, look, the first season is very slow and not fantastic, but like watch the rest of the show because it's fantastic.
A lot of comedies start out that way. They got to get their footing.
Yeah.
All right. Well, anything else? I keep wanting to say Mandalorian. Book of Boba Fett, 2 episodes. See how it wraps up.
I mean, it was interesting. They went through Beggar's Canyon and all that stuff. I didn't really need all that, and they kind of went right back through the whole like pod racing scene. I liked the fact that actually, ironically, I liked that anyone had like a nitrous button on it. So he blew right through those X-wings. I find it very interesting that Mando keeps turning payment away. Like for Boba Fett, I get, but like for the bounty at the very beginning,
I think he's getting away from the bounty hunting.
Which no, I mean fits. Like that
and
fits
maybe that's why
all of the other things I have in my head.
Maybe that's why that's the shit that'll fit him now. Because honestly, does he need that extra space? I just feel like
takes way too long. I never understood how Luke could sit in an X-wing the whole time. Like if space travel took, weeks or however long it would take you to get from place to place. But I know hyperdrive exists and I know all these other things, but at the same time, homie's got to pee at some point. And this universe hasn't told me anything about recycling any of that stuff. So I don't want to sit in the fighter.
God, it's like for me driving from here to like, I have to drive like 3 or 4 hours. It's like, damn, my knees about to kill me. Like, jeez.
Yeah. That's the one part of Star Wars you got to kind of get past. And okay, this works. They just traveled for 4 weeks and to get here, and they're going to fight immediately. You just got to get past that.
Mandalorian was the very first thing that kind of gave us something where the dude needed to like evacuate his whatever on the first episode. Like he hasn't done it since like the whatever solstice.
I mean, you got to get rid of some of that stuff though, because who wants to?
Depends on the species too.
Yeah, true.
That very true. Very true.
Him going to see Grogu is going to be interesting. I mean, I'm interested in how they're going to weave it all together. If they're going to jump back into Boba, and then we're going to get whatever he went to go do, or he's going to somehow not go see Grogu until after. Or I'm only interested because now that they introduced such a heavy Mandalorian episode, or all Mandalorian episode, whatever you want to call it, how they're going to pace the Boba Fett show and how they're going to pace the Mandalorian show, where it's all going to fit. Because to me, they have a clear story they're trying to tell, but it's a jigsaw puzzle, and we haven't begun to see like where everything's going to fit just yet or land.
Well, the one thing I'm really happy about with the show is it is going in a direction that I wanted to go to. Because, like I said, I wanted it to mean something and not just be a one-off show. And based on the last episode and what's going on, Ross, I think you're right. They're telling one huge story, so this show is going to mean something. 5 episodes in, I got a pretty good feeling about that. So I'm excited for the future of it. It's going to be the most interesting to see how they tie it in. You're absolutely right. Because remember, we got the Ahsoka show coming up too. So all this stuff's tying together. It's going to be really fun.
We've got to be on the verge of an Obi-Wan trailer at some point.
Yeah, I know.
He's out there talking about it. He's out there like talking to outlets about, like I know everyone wants it, and I know Disney and Star Wars and Lucasfilm want to polish it and make it as pretty as possible. And I'm like, I don't care.
Just effing give it to me, right?
You can give us a preview. That's fine. Then you can polish it up later whenever you want to, but I want to see something.
Give me stills, give me visuals. I don't care. I want to know something because I have it in my head.
I know it's there.
Yeah.
I expect soon we'll see something.
And I want to hear the music. So I'm going to tell you right now, Boba Fett and Mandalorian are killing it with the music.
Ooh, Nathan says the end credit of Boba will be the Obi-Wan trailer.
Yeah. Kind of like the end credit of season 2 of Mando. I mean, you got that trailer for Boba Fett. So
is it going to say a long time ago on the same planet?
not so long ago on the same planet. All right, cool. Well, dude, I'm ready to see the last have the show up. We got 2 more weeks of it, and then we're going to move on to whatever the next show we pick out's going to be. We haven't done a retrospective on a movie in a long time. We need to pick a series of movies and do a retro on those. It'd be fun. So,
I told you when you asked me to come on the show, things were just going to pick up, and we were just going to be sitting there full of content.
There's always content now. Yeah, that's true. It looked like for a little while there's going to be a little bit of a lull, but it's definitely picked up. Speaking of movies, did watch Eternals this week. We've all completed it, right? This one's interesting. I actually watched it a few hours ago, so this one's fresh in my mind. I have some thoughts about it. So it's gonna get a rewatch from me because it wasn't a terrible movie. It's definitely not in my top tier of Marvel movies.
Had a different flavor, didn't it?
It definitely had different. It didn't even really feel like a Marvel movie. It felt like a movie of people who'd seen the Marvel movies. To be truly honest with you, like the stuff they talked about, I was like, yeah, I've seen that movie. That being said, it was a good movie. It really kind of had a hard time catching my interest until the third act, and even that wasn't fantastic. But I could see where beef this story up a little bit and give me some more about these characters. And there's some group of people that I could really enjoy. I'm interested to see how they tie into the phase 4, I guess we're in now. And this movie did time jumps, which always bothered me because it's hard for me to keep up with time jumps. Because if you miss that little thing where it says, so many years ago, you're lost and you don't realize it's that long ago. So unless you're smarter than me, which a lot of people are. But yeah, all in all, man, it's a Marvel movie. It was good. It's gonna get a second rewatch because I feel like with a rewatch, I could get a little more out of it. It's a long movie, but I would never tell anybody not to watch it. It's just not something that I'm gonna go rave to my friends about. That I saw Eternals, got to check it out type deal. Some of the power sets kind of bothered me. Like at some point in time, I guess what's his name, Icarus.
Icarus.
The basically the Homelander of this
Superman
movie. Yeah, his little eye beams seemed to work like they could fuck anything up at sometimes, and then other times it was like they just were like a spitting in somebody's face. And I was like, that's not really. They don't do a good job of like consistently showing this power set working well. But you get that all the time. Flash is not fast enough. Superman's not strong enough. I mean, you get that kind of stuff all the time. So I don't know, man. All in all, not a bad movie. Ross, you said, I know you're going to do a rewatch on it, which means I think you probably not only feel the same way, but you feel at least good enough where it's going to get a second viewing.
I don't remember all the characters' names.
I don't know. I just saw it and I don't remember the characters' names.
Yeah. So when I watched it the first time, like I said, I watched it like the day or the day after it came out. I put it up on one of the monitors. I'm doing work and I'm listening to it, but at the same time, I definitely wasn't in that point where I could really like soak all that information in because they're trying to throw quite a bit at you. There's just something that just something about all of that information and something that you have no background in, and the want to learn it has to be there. And when they try to come in with so much right out the gate, it's overwhelming. And I mean, if you do that to your audience, you're going to lose them. I mean, like it happens every single time. Like if you try to tell like a super complex story, I mean, fuck, if you use big words nowadays, you lose people. So at the end of the day, you have all these characters, you have a pretty simple plot, but you have a lot of moving parts. And with all of those moving parts, I'm sitting there trying to, like, I don't know who I like and who I don't like. I don't know who I should be rooting for. And then at the very end, I'm like, really?
Thank you.
That did that?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's when I was like,
they did it.
I'm going to let that sit for a minute before I come back to that.
Yeah.
I felt like there was a lot that was thrown at you, but it was thrown at you. It was so slow. You know, it was just because the pace of this movie, I mean, I guess once you got to the third act, it kind of picked up, but everything else was just like, I'm like, just because I saw it in the theater when it came out, the weekend it came out. So, and we did start a rewatch, but I don't think we finished it because the kids wanted to watch it. But then, of course, you know, they're little goldfish and it's like, you know, they're gone. But it was, I don't know. It's just I had such anticipation for this, high expectations for it because I was like, "Oh, this is gonna be cool." Then I'm like, "What in the hell? Come
Nathan
on,
says
move
we're not selling
along."
him on it, but I'm not gonna lie, Nathan. I know you. This is one you could miss, and you'd be
Yes, you'll be
easily
fine.
sleep over it.
You'll be fine.
Yeah,
You'll be
you,
fine.
you could. I think that if you miss this movie and then they bring Eternals into the Marvel Cinematic Universe, you're gonna be okay. It's not.
You would get more from this movie if they brought them in a very big way out of
Mhm.
nowhere, and then they came back and like, okay, here's an origin story. Because then at least you would have interest.
Yeah.
Like they
That's
sparked
one of
your
those things.
interest.
Throw them in there and then come back and show the backstory.
Mhm. But you got to be careful with that because that's they've done that with some characters and they've gotten flack for it. I mean, look, Scarlet Witch,
Scarlet
one in
Witch, yeah,
general,
you're right.
Hawkeye, everybody in the Justice League. I mean, sometimes when they do that, they get flack for it. So it's also one of those things they're never going to please anybody. Like you got to pick what's going to be please the most people, or actually they should pick what they want to do, and then people just be damned with it. You either like it or you don't. But they're not going to. They're going to pick what they think's going to
I mean,
sell
I'm not
best.
saying it's a terrible movie. Don't get me wrong. I'm not one of the fellas, so I'm trying to sell it to you. I'm not saying it's bad. It's just and like I said, it's like I told you about. It's got a totally different flavor of all the other Marvel movies. That's what you're used to. The pacing's a lot different. I mean, you do have, it kicks it up a notch sometimes, but then there's like a lot of, it's more emotional, shall we say?
Well,
So,
this movie had one point and one point only for the Marvel Cinematic Universe, and that was to introduce and really flesh out Celestials.
mhm.
That was the point of this movie, was because guess what? They're coming back. Like we're going to see it again. Now you have some background knowledge of it. I mean, for me, when this movie, the one thing I wanted answered, I try to go into a movie with one question that I've got to have answered for it, and this one was, why the hell? Why everybody says, were these guys not there during the Infinity Saga?
Mhm.
And of course, at the beginning of the movie, they give it kind of a nonchalant answer, and it's just that kind of bullshit. I was like, I don't like this. But then the movie actually ends up being about the reason that they weren't involved in the Infinity Saga. So it made up for it a little bit for him, because I mean, the whole reason that the whole third act of the movie even happens is because they have not been doing anything, and well, to a certain extent. So
Mhm.
it made up for it a little bit for me, because at first I was really, really upset. I was, that's a really weak ass excuse, and I hope that that's not all they go with. And then they kind of turn the tables when the plot of the movie shifts slightly. So
Well, I will go ahead and say this right now. I did not like Cersei.
okay,
Yeah,
Thanks, Dave.
it was muted. I mean, her whole performance felt muted.
I mean, it's just I just did not buy her as the character that they tried to, or the position they portrayed her to feel. I mean, I just
Yeah.
well, they tried to introduce too many of these Eternals at once. I think. I mean, what was it? A team of 10
yeah, there was quite
at
a
the
few
beginning
of
of the
them.
movie. They tried to introduce. I can barely remember 2 or 3 of their names. Granted, I've only seen the movie one time, but generally, I can remember most of the
I
names.
just remember Gilgamesh. I remember Athena because I mean that's that's names that you hear in history.
Yeah, and that's honestly
Icarus,
probably why I
flew
remember
flew
them.
too close
Yep.
to the sun.
Mm-hmm.
It's just
I won't say to anyone don't watch it, because I mean people like it. Like, look, I like Shang-Chi. I mean, I thought it was a very fun movie. I mean, it caught a lot of heat from a lot of different people because once again it came out of left field and it used uh, examples from the MCU that were already there to try to like crawl their way in.
mhm.
So other people put it. This movie, I only felt like suffered from, like, if use the term again, if the Eternals were truly like hive mind people, if they showed why they need to be together more and like gave me more of that information, they could have spent this whole entire movie um like in the first couple centuries and then jumped to the future at the very end.
Mm-hmm.
And then, either spent like a whole nother movie trying to explain that, or using other movies to try to weave them in and tell their stories and say that here's why they weren't there, rather than trying to immediately bring them into current day. because I kind of really enjoyed when they did the Centuries Back, like
Mhm.
where they were at and all these other
How they interacted with
technology
mankind
and
throughout
stuff like
the
that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
throughout
and
their
so
history.
they could have told a whole bunch or a totally different story, but they chose to go with something else. And at the same time, I didn't hate it. I mean, I hated the Icarus scene. I thought that was absolutely stupid at the end. But
Yeah.
also, like, how are you going to bring someone like that back after his story goes the way that it goes?
Mhm.
I know that they're going to need this information. I just don't know what they're going to do with it yet.
Right. And you know, one thing that bothered me too, you know, I was talking about the question I want answered about how they didn't interfere with the Infinity Saga, and I get that they gave, you know, an answer for that, and they kind of formed the movie around solving that equation, but they didn't mention anything about how the Avengers or anybody Shield doesn't know anything about them or variants, or was it variants? Is it what
Mhm.
they? Yeah,
Deviants.
deviants. Yeah, that's what it is.
Events.
But
Yeah.
like I don't think any of that happens without them knowing about it, or Doctor Strange having something to do with it. Like that's the part
You
that
know,
that
Nick
kind of
Fury
gets
knew
me.
about that. Don't even lie.
Yeah, like they've got to know about it, and they're not doing anything about it. It's like, okay, I think this. I don't know, man. I think if you were going to go Eternals, it's something you should have had introduced before. But then again, I guess when you throw them into like the Infinity Saga, you're messing with that story, and yeah, I don't know. It's weird, man. I don't know anything about the Eternals going in, and that's part of the problem.
Well, I don't think
This
anybody
is a
really knew
whole
a
new
lot
thing.
because
I
even
don't know anybody who
the
does
comic
either.
series, I think there was like a couple of different variations on it.
Hmm.
So I don't
Yeah,
think
I don't know
there was
anybody who
really
knows
a
anything.
set story, you know, even in comic lore.
Hmm. I think Chris Balga told me he was like anybody. It was either Chris or yeah, I think it might have been Chris.
I think it
He
was.
said anybody who tells you they know that they're Eternals fans and they know a lot about Eternals is lying to you because there's not enough information out there to be a fan
Well,
of it
there
and
was
know a lot
even
about
like a
them.
little vignette, like right before they showed the film in the theater of how kind of like the background of the Eternals, and really it was like a story that was kind of all over the place. There was never one set, like origin, so to speak. So I mean, it's kind of like a free for all right now. They can kind of go whichever way they want to.
Yeah.
Even the marketing for this movie was confusing to me. And I like to feel that when I don't know what something is, if it's
Mhm.
brand new, if it's unknown to anyone, that they do a decent job. I have to go with Guardians because it's the closest example in the same universe. Look what they did.
Mhm.
Not even with the movie, but look what they did. People were confused about Guardians. The marketing and everything that they brought out was enough to keep you intrigued, rightfully so. And on the positive side, like I know Eternals had the downside of coming out during like a pandemic and a world that's all shook up and everything else. But
It
at the
got
same
changed a few
time,
times too. I think the
Mm-hmm.
date.
yeah, like
We were supposed to get the movie a long time ago. I thought.
The whole thing was just felt off, and it could have been a product of its time. But at the same time, here's the deal: MCU blueprints way too well.
Right.
They map out way too far in advance.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, like they have stories for probably phase 5 and 6 that they are piecing together right now.
Oh yeah, and when you're this deep into it, you've got to.
Yeah,
You really have to. I mean, their
because you can't
universe is
chase
so
your
big.
tail.
Hmm. Yeah, their universe
So
is so big. I mean, this movie for me, like I said, it's not a movie that I'm going to write home about. I'm not going to go to work and tell everybody they've got to go see this movie. But it did lay out a storyline for me and characters for me well enough that okay, put these characters into a meaningful role in a movie in the future, and I can enjoy these characters and I can grow to like these characters. And once again, I'm going to give this movie a rewatch. I may like it better the second time around, and generally I do with movies that I give a rewatch because if I'm watching it the second time, almost immediately afterwards, I liked it enough to where I felt like I might have missed some stuff. But I don't know. It did enough for me where I'm invested in these characters. The characters that are left. I want to see what they do with these in the future, what this means. Like I said, I think the entire point of this movie was just to introduce the Celestials. You know,
but you said left, which is a very key word because I mean, how many of the Eternals were often in this movie?
I think only 4 of them got killed. I tried to keep count. I think only 4 of them. So there should be about 6 or 7 left, depending on.
And so you have Sprite, which they fixed that age thing right there. They're like,
So she's not really
you
a
gotta pull that out.
Mhm.
But you got to think too. These people are old and they have seen things.
Yeah.
They have seen everything.
That's
I
why.
mean, that's
So
gotta do
Athena was
something
having
to you.
issues with the what do they call it? The
disease, the MER something. I can't remember. Something MER. Which
She had
that
that.
was
She had
weird.
that reboot virus.
Yeah, it was really weird because they made a huge deal about it, like in the second act of the movie, and then it doesn't really come into play at all, really, throughout the rest of the movie. And I was like, well, I thought that was going to be like a big thing, like at the end, like right when they were about to win, she was going to turn, and all of a sudden, but no, it just didn't really come back at all. I was like, okay,
Yeah.
well,
So all I can say is that with the characters that they have left, I hope that they do something really well with them. I hope that they come back. Like, I find it hard to believe because they existed for such a long period of time, and I hope that for the next little bit of time they come back super badass.
mhm.
I don't know how they do that without it feeling very shoehorned and out of place, but we give it a shot.
Yeah. I'm trying to think. I know that I fast forwarded for the mid-credit scene and the end credit scene, but I'm not gonna lie, I don't really remember what either of them are about. I remember the mid credit scene was her mortal boyfriend opening up some drawer, but I can't even remember what he opened up and saw.
Oh yeah, Black Knight. You're talking about the one where he found a sword?
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, that's right. Okay. Yeah, it was
Yeah.
a sword at the end. Yep. Okay.
So
Okay.
you're
So
gonna
yeah, I
get
do
him
remember now.
introduced.
Yeah. And then I don't remember what the end credit scene was, which is sad because I just saw this movie.
I
But
know. I
that
was
just goes to show
relying on you, man.
Well, I mean, that just goes to show you that it just didn't catch my attention that much. Like they're in the universe now. Let's see what they do with them in the future. They're on my radar, but it's not going to be like, oh my god, Eternals. You know, I don't know. It's Marvel. They've got my money already, even though I had to wait until it came out free on Disney Plus to watch it. But they got my Disney Plus money, even though it's not Marvel, it's Disney. But yeah. Anyway,
Star Fox. That was the last one.
Hmm?
Star Fox. That was the very last end
Oh
credit.
yeah, that's right.
Because Star Fox is supposed to be what Thanos' brother.
That's right.
Mhm.
That's right.
My Harry Styles.
Fucking one of them got the looks.
So we'll be interested to see, and that I guess that was kind of a nice little way to tie it back into the universe. So I don't know. We'll see. Anything else y'all want to point out about Eternals? We're not going super deep into it because it's been out for months and months. We just finally caught up, and all 3 of us have finally watched. Well, I was the last one. Sorry,
It's like
I
I said,
finally watched it. So.
it's definitely a movie that you see it the first time. Definitely give it a rewatch because, like I said, it is a longer movie. There's a lot of stuff that you do kind of gloss over for the first watch, and I mean, even watching. I haven't fully seen it the second time. I haven't got down to the last half of it, but even the first half is like I kind of pay attention a little bit more to certain scenes because that kind of thing. So
some movies
Mad
have too
Weary,
much
that's
shock
what it
factor.
is. It's the Mad Weary. Sorry, I just popped into
Oh
my
yeah,
head. Yeah.
sure.
So because I mean, basically they go through all this stuff and then they get everything wiped, and Thena was the only one that didn't have it wiped. So that's why she had all this. It was just basically fracturing her mind.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I'm thinking, well, I get that.
Oh, damn it, I had something tip my tongue.
That's my Monday through Friday.
Yeah. Oh, I can't remember what it was. Either way, we'll come back. We'll mention later, I'm sure. But all right, cool. Well,
I'll say it's at the bottom of my MCU listings right now. I haven't given it another rewatch. I'll have to give it another rewatch, and then of course it will probably climb as time goes on, and they are made more important. So,
well, what are there? There's 26 movies now. Marvel, is it 26, something like that?
I gave up counting after 23, and they started bringing out TV shows because I didn't feel like that was fair. But at the same time,
I'd have to, yeah. Well, I think there's somewhere in there, 20, 26, 27. I'd have to say this movie's borderline rolling into the 20s. Actually, no, it's somewhere in the 20s. So it's near the bottom of my list too. But it can change, Future information, I always have to reserve the right to change my opinion.
Yeah.
So
once they connect it and they make things, make a little bit more sense. I say that. I mean, these characters could blow to the end of time. So who knows?
Right. All right. Well, let's move on. Then we got one more show to talk about. We're not going to go super deep into it because we still have trying to convince Sarah to watch this one because I guess I totally understand with the character you got not being interested in this show. But I'll go ahead and tell you, the Peacemaker you get in this television show is not the Peacemaker you get in the movie. It's a much better fleshed out character that's fun. And we're 5 episodes in now, so I'm not sure how many this season is, but I'm enjoying what I've seen so far. I was trying to think. I was comparing it to something else. I was like, I enjoyed Peacemaker more than my Eternals watch. Like, because I watched the last 2 episodes of Peacemaker.
That doesn't help me out any.
I enjoyed it more than I've enjoyed sometimes Peacemaker more than watching some of the Book of Boba Fett. To be truly honest with you, there's moments in Book of Boba Fett where I'm like, I don't know about that or things. But Peacemaker, it's a fun watch. You know, I don't know what's going to happen. I'm like,
is it fun? The story is really good.
It is.
So I hated Peacemaker, and I did not want to watch this show at all. I had zero interest in watching this show. I was like, they're going to make a character show about him. And there they go again, screwing me up and making me want to like not be a part of what they're creating. Mm-hmm. They put all of the emotion and the legwork into making Peacemaker make sense. And they do it in a way that you're like, damn, like this dude, hey, look, he's not very deep, but like in his own world, like he's going through some stuff.
Yeah, he is.
And he's hilarious. John Cena is, I've always loved John Cena, and I hated that they made Peacemaker such a bitch. Now, I guess bitch is probably the wrong word, but such a pain in the ass in Suicide Squad.
Yeah.
Completely. And what they did with him in this show was they basically ripped that damn Band-Aid off really fast. Mm-hmm. And they're like, that's not Peacemaker. That was who Peacemaker was in that moment. Mm-hmm. And look, I'm a humongous fan of what's his name? Joel Kinnaman?
Yeah.
Who played
Rick Flag. Yeah.
God, there you go. Who played Rick Flag? Like I like him. I like the shows that he does. I'm a big fan of his. When Peacemaker killed him, I was like, oh.
Yeah, I was the same way.
Not today. Not in my house. No. And so when that happened, like I was really torn apart over like ever wanting to watch anything else. Mm-hmm. But the show is fantastic. The last episode, hilarious.
Yeah.
Loved it. And I think that what they're doing with it, I'll tell you right now, he's pretty sure they're coming out with a second season, that they're going to get signed. They haven't
I'll watch the second season of it.
Inked it. But not only that, James Gunn, sorry. He is already saying that they are in talks to make another Suicide character show, but they haven't revealed who it is yet.
Polka Dot Man. Polka Dot Man's still there. I can't remember if he died at the end of the movie.
I've heard that,
yeah.
Look,
he keeps going.
This show makes Rick Flag's death mean something. It makes it so that way it wasn't just a throwaway thing that, like you, Ross, I was pissed off when I saw it in the movie, and I was like, nah, they just fucked up. This show makes it mean something. It takes the emotionless Peacemaker you saw in the movie and throws a little emotion and background into him, and you kind of understand why he is the way he is. And this last episode especially, it's starting to come around with, I can't remember, Abadiah, I think is the girl, I can't remember her name in the show, but she's finally starting to see that, you know, this is a guy. He's a person. He's not that bad of a guy. He's just kind of misunderstood, and you know, he does some fucked up things, I guess. But I'm really liking the show. You're right. The storyline is great because there are a couple different leads going with this story, but you can see how they're all tying together. And like the storyline with his dad, which casting's great, character's great. Don't get me wrong, I don't like a racist bastard like his dad, but the way they portray this in the show is pretty good. Vigilante, which they've basically just taken Deadpool and put him in a black and green outfit. I mean, it is almost a carbon copy, but the guy who plays him does a good job. You know, the character, you get to see his face in this. The guy playing Adrian Chase, he does a really good job in this role, and I like him in this role.
It's a little bit of a stretch comparing him to Deadpool, but like I see where you're going with it.
Deadpool, dude. It's a carpet. I mean, he maybe not as lethal. They don't show it off like that, but as far as like the punchlines and the comedy,
Not
aspect of it, right?
as mouthy, but he is funny.
Yeah, but they do a good job of that. Trying to think. This butterfly thing they're doing for the show is pretty cool. At first, I was kind of I didn't know where they're going with it. I think this 5th episode has really fleshed a lot of things out for me. I hate saying that a show really starts to pick up after all the way 5 episodes in, but the 5th episode for me, at least so far, is where it's like, okay, I see where they're going. I like this. I like this. I like this. I don't have a lot of questions left. I just want to see them execute. But I would highly recommend this show, Sarah. I think that if you
get a chance, Cobra Kai, I'll jump into it.
I hear you. I think that if you can get past the intro music.
Oh no, you gotta watch the intro at least once.
It's fun. My wife wants to do that. Yeah, my wife wants to do that dance routine for a dance class at the gym. She's like, I'm going to learn that dance routine.
So, watching the James Gunn and Kevin Smith interview was funny because everything that he was asking James Gunn was exactly what I was thinking when I was watching it. And like, it felt so awkward, but he did the same thing. Like, I don't know if you remember the Guardians of the Galaxy video that they did with David Hasselhoff. You remember that music video? Like, you know how everything was awkward? That's James Gunn. Like, he wants to make you feel, and he wants to do it. Sometimes he wants to make your skin crawl. And the opening, look, I fast forward it. Like, I can't watch it every single time because last time I need to get through it. But like watching it the first time, I'm like, what the shit am I watching?
I thought
I was like, right now,
you're not helping me.
It's hilarious. You got to watch it. Yeah.
May be one of the best things that I thought was going to suck from this show. And that eagle, I swear to God, is fantastic. Fantastic.
Hold on, Sarah. You're gonna. I'm not.
Everyone is saying good things about it.
But you got to watch this intro real quick.
God.
I'm telling you, I'll just play it in the background. You just watch it while we're talking about it. It's absolutely hilarious.
You can't do it without the music. You got to do the music. Is this going to be our outro?
Yeah. Here we go. All right. Peacemaker opening credits. Let's see. I go to this screen here. And I'll pause it. Yeah, you're right. I guess you really can't do it without the music. You're right. So if they shut it down, they shut it down. Let's see. Share screen. Oh, wait. No, I don't want to share screen. Let's see how long it takes for me to do this. Share. Yeah, I do want to share screen. Oh. This is how I do it. There we go.
Talk yourself through it.
Yep. All right, y'all. I'm almost there. Okay, so here we go. You got to watch this intro. Share system audio. Share. All right.
Thanks, guys.
Can you see? I'm telling you, once you'll be like, okay, I'm gonna watch this show. Here we go. You ready? Let's see. Where's the play button? There it is.
Oh my God. Janet Jackson will be proud.
This is the intro for every show. Like I said, my wife wants to learn this dance routine for a class at the gym.
If John Cena can do it, anybody can do it.
Yeah, it's a good point.
He does a good job of it. They did all these cuts, and they did it without, like, how many times do you have to do this without, like, a smile slipping out of the corner of your mouth?
That was a perfect slide, by the way.
Yes, it
right
was.
in the center. Perfect slide. I don't know how many times I had to practice that. But yeah, this is the intro to every show. I thought when I saw the first episode, I was like, they're only going to do it for the first episode. But no, it's every single show. You get to watch this. It's like a sitcom. You get to watch the intro.
He actually said that he's like, my whole purpose was for them to get rid of the skip button. Like, I didn't want them to have the skip button.
So what are you thinking so far, Sarah? Is it anything like you expected an intro for the show to be?
Well, I knew there was going to be a level of silliness to it because, I mean, just the character itself. But I mean,
will say,
like I said, it's kind of got like the the Guardians vibe because it was just that. That eagle man, he sold me. He sold me right there.
I'm telling you, love Igley.
But I mean, it's kind of like the Guardians. But I mean, I think that's just James Gunn, anyways, because it's always, it's. I don't want to say it's quite a parody, but it's not like completely 100%. There's just some kind of I don't know, just comic. There's this level of
For a lot of people, Taika
comedy.
Waititi is way too far, and James Gunn is like just enough.
Yeah, exactly.
I think that's
mean,
a good. Yeah,
Like
I
I
think
have no
that's where it's
problem with
right.
Taika Waititi. Like I enjoy like all the different ways that people do things,
Mhm.
as long as they're not like even if I don't enjoy it, I'll just shut up and walk away. Like, well, okay, whatever. I don't know what they were trying to do. That was weird. Kind of like the Eternals. But with this, I mean, like it's a whole different. This, if I could have got this as like a Suicide Squad, I would have loved that movie a whole lot more. Like
Right.
I did not like that movie. I just didn't like love it. Like watching it one time, good. Moving on.
I like this show better than both the Suicide Squad movies.
Oh yeah,
I
the
can say
first
that.
one lacked, but
The first
had
one
all the
has
right
issues.
components. But
If we get the
that
air cut,
second
then
one's
my
just so
opinion might
like
change on that.
out there, dude. I mean, because it opens up with that one scene on that beach, and you're just like, what? What is going on right now? It's like, what is happening?
A lot of
he
it's
tries to be
character.
too funny with the, I don't know, I guess the craziness of like, we're just gonna kill all these people and laugh.
And they had the
Everyone
most
laugh. Clap.
god awful like abilities. I'm just like, no wonder they put y'all up there. It's like
TDK, baby. TDK. Yeah, that is a good point with this one, Ross. The comedic points I think are not over the top. They're not. I mean, well, the ones that are supposed to be over the top are, and you know it right away, and it's okay. But it's not like bad placed comedy or bad jokes. Like it's really well done. Like I said, Sarah, I think you'd really like the show. I don't want to go too far into it because there's some things you don't want spoiled in it. But I think you'll watch the first episode and you'll be like, okay, I'm gonna give Peacemaker a chance, or at least the character a chance, because I was the same way you were. I didn't like him in the movie. I didn't like the character in the movie. I like John Cena as Peacemaker, but I didn't like the way they went with that character in the movie. But this definitely changes it for me.
I binged the first three, and after binging the first three, I was like, okay, I'm fine. Like,
yeah,
I watched the first one, and I was like, it doesn't make me hate him. I don't detest what's like. They didn't just flip the whole entire script. What they did was they're doing a character study.
Yeah,
and they're trying to say like, hey, look, he's a product of his environment and his upbringing and like everything else. And then you realize it. And then, I mean, when you see John Cena, a man that size, break down and cry,
it's real quick, right?
Yeah. I mean, there's something about there's like testosterone like leaking out of like his tear ducts in like liquid form. I don't know how to describe it.
Hey, his acting skills have gotten much better over there. He's like The Rock. The Rock's first few movies are kind of rough, but he got a lot better. John Cena's acting skills have gotten much better over the last few years. And
I would argue that John Cena is a better actor
than The Rock.
Than The Rock. Only because I think that he has a much better grasp on certain things that The Rock didn't, and it took The Rock a lot longer to do.
Okay.
And I don't dislike Dwayne Johnson. I mean, I think Dwayne Johnson's awesome, but I think that John Cena definitely, he found a different way to be himself than The Rock did, and I like John Cena quite a bit.
Yeah. I'm trying to think. Dang it! I hate when see. This is why I usually write stuff down while I'm doing. But every time I don't write it down, I forget what I was going to say. That's the way it works. Talked about Vigilante. You know, the team is pretty cool in this show. I like that Peacemaker has a bunch of different helmets, and you get to see, I'm interested to see what all these have because we've only seen 2 now. So it'll be cool to see a bunch of different helmets. I didn't know anything about his dad and his dad being the White Dragon. So they called him. I'm sure we're gonna get to see that pretty soon. Just a racist villain is what he is. So I'm sure we're gonna get to see that soon. And then
they showed his suit.
They showed his suit. The suit was pretty cool. Not gonna lie. And Vigilante going into jail and whooping some ass is pretty cool. Hey, I'm telling you, man, that guy who plays Vigilante is pretty cool. He can kick some ass. You know, like I don't know if he does all his own stunts, which I doubt, but it was pretty cool. Trying to think. Dang it, I had one specific more thing I wanted to say about this, and I was hoping it was going to come to me whenever we were talking about this, but I don't think it's going to. But I think Sarah's going to watch it, and we're going to be talking about Peacemaker again, especially.
Okay, so you feel like I need to binge like the first 3 episodes?
Yes, because that's the way it came out. The first 3 came out
available.
Yeah.
Well, baby steps. Baby steps. Okay, baby steps.
Yep.
But then again, if I could get through Doom Patrol, to be damn sure I can get through this.
Yeah.
Because you know
Teach
how
their
Doom
own. I
Patrol
love that
goes
show.
off the damn rails. All right, fellas, I'll see what I can do.
I'm not going to remember what I was trying to say. Damn it. I know. I'm sitting here trying to rack my brain. I'm not going to remember. It's going to come up whenever as soon as we get off here, I'm sure. But I don't know. Well, is there anything else you wanted to point out about Peacemaker, Ross? Because I know, like I said, Sarah hadn't seen it. I want to go too super spoilers into it because she still hasn't seen it yet. And got a pretty good feeling that once she starts watching it, she's going to be hooked. Yeah.
I am trying to find how many episodes that there are.
Oh.
It appears to be 8 episodes from what I'm seeing so far.
Okay. So we got 3 left.
So 3 more.
I do remember what I wanted to point out. Do you notice that he picks on a member of the Justice League at least one every single episode?
Mm-hmm.
He's picked on Aquaman. He's picked on Superman. He's picked on Batman. I can't remember, but every single episode he says something picking on a member of the Justice League. It's pretty funny. I like how they do that, tie it together.
I was almost gonna say that the joke that he was doing with Diebeard last time, I was like, he's going too far. I'm like, no, he's not. It's hilarious. Like, just keep going. And then when we got, did you watch all the way to the very end?
Pretty sure I did.
So at the very end of the episode, they have like the outtakes where he just keeps going even more, calling him more name or who he could have picked rather than like his dad. Like, he just keeps going.
Dude, that was great. He went through so many names, and I thought about that. I was like, could I do that? Could I just randomly say that many names that fast off the top of my head? And I'm sure I probably could. But yeah, that was amazing, that scene. I was like, well, he's doing a really, really good job. Crazy. He's like, who else could I have picked? Just starts naming people. He's like, or any of the other 1,000 people in the world. And he's right.
Yep.
You know, which is
The Rock, Chris Rock, Rock.
They still haven't told us why they did that yet. Or maybe I just missed it. We have to figure out, but they still haven't told us why that happened yet, which I'm interested to see because it's going to tie into the whole story, I'm sure.
Well, I thought they did.
Did they? I may have missed it.
I think that the fact that they did it is going to turn into a fact of the story, but I think that I don't think it's like on the nose as you need to believe it is, you know.
Cool. Well, we got 3 episodes left, man. I'm interested to see how it wraps up, and if it comes in for a season 2, I will watch it. You've got my attention because I will definitely check the show out. I don't know what character they're going to do from Suicide Squad that I would really care to watch, but then again, I said the same thing about Peacemaker, and I like it. So give me anything. Who do y'all think if they're going to do a character from Squad? Is it from either of the movies or just from 2?
Well, I'd assume from 2, considering it was his.
Okay.
I mean, I would assume that it could be anyone from Suicide Squad, because I feel like when you make something, which this show, Sarah, is the most highly reviewed show on Rotten Tomatoes in the DC universe.
Oh, wow.
I did read that today. So it beat out Wonder Woman. I mean, it's already at the top.
Yeah, as long as they don't give me a show about King Shark, I'm good.
What about what's the ferret's name?
Weasel?
Whatever that thing is. Weasel. There you go.
Weasel. I think I'd rather watch that than watch King Shark show. To be truly honest with you, I just did not like that character at all. So yeah, but everybody has their opinion. So
I mean, chances are it's probably going to be Ratcatcher.
I could deal with that. I could deal with that. I could deal with it's not going to be. I don't think it'll be a huge name. But then again, I guess John Cena's kind of a big name. I'd say what was Idris Elba's character? Not
Bloodshot.
Bloodsport.
Bloodsport. Yeah.
Bloodsport, yeah. I could see that. That'd be cool. I'd watch that show. Give me a Harley Quinn show. I'd watch that show.
It's probably. I guess it could be Idris Elba. I mean, his name did just finally officially get announced for the running of the next 007.
Oh, that's kind of been out there a little bit, though. I mean,
not officially. It is now official that he's in the running. It actually came from one of their PR people, so
that would be interesting. I would. That might get me back into watching some more Bond movies.
But I'm going to tell you, James Gunn has been nut to butt making stuff. I mean, he is writing, filming. He has been nonstop.
Stacking that money.
He's putting it somewhere because, I mean, I guess he's got a building and he's just Scrooge McDucking the shit out of it.
Hell yeah, that's what I would do. I'm gonna swim and change once I have it. So swim in crypto.
Copper.
Or dive into it like Peter Griffin does on Family Guy. All right. Well, anything else you want to say about Peacemaker? I think I'm kind of spent on it. Well, like I said, I got a few things I could say, but I'm saving it for when Sarah watches it because I know she's going to enjoy it. Or I don't know. She may watch the first 3 episodes and end up not liking it. Never know. And she is fully within her rights to do that. So.
Actually, we got Sarah back on because I've been sitting there trying to figure out like what was going to be coming up over the next couple of weeks. At some point, we got to be getting Discovery back. But you got my Star Trek news, and I've been craving because I did hear that they're not going to be doing Picard after season 3. I'm on a completely tangent to Star Trek because at some point in the next like 35 days, Picard finally comes back on. I've really been waiting for that. And if I know that you don't have like the massive background in all the things Star Trek, but when Picard comes back at the beginning of March, that show is going to be ridiculous with all the people they're bringing back into it. Absolutely ridiculous.
Yeah.
The two big ones. Well, the one I knew about, the other one I was quite sure about, but it was Q
and Whoopi.
Q and Guinan. So I'm like, yay. Well, I was never really a big fan of Guinan anyways, but I did remember hearing that Whoopi Goldberg was coming back because I think Patrick Stewart actually asked her, personally to come back.
Yeah,
but
you got to then. Yeah.
But I mean, how can you not have a story with Jean-Luc without having Q? You like Mon Capitan.
Dude, they are
I'm
like interweaved in the nerve ending somewhere.
Yeah, absolutely.
Ross, we got to be saying last week they have too much stuff coming out at once.
That's what I was complaining about whenever Sarah dropped the bomb of knowledge on us. I was complaining because yes, but they're stacking. Like they're stacking their shows.
Dude. You should be excited about it.
We are sitting in the lull of Discovery right now. They haven't even finished the season that they currently have filmed and canned, ready to play. And we are sitting in an intermission.
I don't care. I want it all. Dump it all on me right now. You know how much I've waited for Star Trek?
Cutting that clip out. Dump it all on me right now.
I want it all.
I'm so cutting that clip out.
It's like Star Wars. I mean, it's like, he's like, I want it all. I want it all. Give it to me all now. I can handle it.
I sat here the other day. I pulled up the Paramount Plus app and it said, you have no internet. And then I go to any other app that I have on my TV and I start watching it. But I go back to Paramount Plus and it's like, you have no internet. And I'm like, I swear to fucking God, I am going to strangle the people that run Paramount because they suck at everything that they do. I hate it. And you know what? Isn't the Super Bowl going to be on CBS?
Yeah, you can stream it on Paramount. No, you can stream it. I don't know, Paramount and Peacock together. You can stream it on Peacock. I know that. I don't know.
Peacock's NBC, isn't it?
Yeah, that's where you can do the Super Bowl this year. So I saw it the other day, and I was like, I may just pay for a premium subscription.
Oh, and Eminem's going to be at the Super Bowl halftime show. I don't care about nobody else.
Sweet.
The 90s.
You done forgot about Dre. That's messed up.
Hey, Eminem's my boy.
Yeah, we had our Slim Shady days back in the day. I remember that. That was like right when I started driving. Goodness gracious.
And now Gage, he talks about Mom Spaghetti. I'm like, okay, there you go.
Yeah, my kid heard some Eminem song the other day on a TikTok, and she was going nuts about this TikTok and like singing the song. And then I started doing it. She was like, "Wait, you know this song?" And I was like, "Yeah, this is from my time." So I was like, "It wouldn't be cool if I played it because you saw it on a TikTok or a YouTube video. It's a cool song." I was like, "This is from my time."
Mm-hmm. We call this bread and butter where I come from.
Well, I got nothing else except a new puppy to take outside. She's been in there with the girls though, laying down on the bed. I'm sure.
Is that your little snips?
Yeah. No. Well, I wanted to go snips. I got told no. Actually, the last one that we were going to get when it was going to be a girl, they were either going to do Satine or Leia. I wanted to do Satine, or they were just going to do Duchess. just because I have Obi, and I was like, oh, that'd be great to have a Satine, you know.
Exactly.
But we ended up not getting that girl.
You
We got this in
can't
the
sleep
day. She
together.
didn't have
It's
a
not
name.
right.
Well, yeah, so that's dog life, man. You know, that is weird that my brother-in-law called me and he's like, yeah, you can breed brothers and you can breed sons and mothers and like brothers and sisters. Like, so there's like certain rules, but you can't breed this. And I'm like, I just couldn't see breeding sons and mothers and brothers and sisters. No,
Not the same line. No, you
It's
gotta
just not for me. Yeah, it's
pick different trees. We can't branch off. That's just
Right.
weird.
Right.
Did the rules change since Meatloaf died? I mean, like, are we actually going to do that?
Wait, Meatloaf's dead?
Yeah,
I'm
Meatloaf died.
I'm yeah. But all right, well let's wrap it up then. Let's get out of here. We'll got some shows this week. Ross, where can they find you at if they want to get a hold of you, buddy?
Nowhere.
I keep
In the house.
Anonymity.
Anonymity.
That's right. That's right. So come on the show and check it out if you want to talk to Ross.
Social media is the scum of the world.
I'm almost there too, man.
You don't
I
like
think
watching
I got
train
on Twitter
wrecks?
the other day
Come
for
on,
the
man.
first time in like 4 days. Like I just Twitter's just I just barely get on there anymore for anything, man. When I do, I feel like I have so much catching up to do that it just gets annoying and I just don't want to do it anymore. So Sarah, where can they find you at?
Well, you can find me on Twitter at My Lady Kitten. You can find me on the TikTok as well. I put a few snow videos up of my pups because we did have snow last weekend. So there's that. But for the most part, that's about it. So yeah, we'll get through this weekend. Just watch some championship games and pretty much go on hiatus until the next season, and probably just sit there and just watch the train wreck.
Yeah, next season's not gonna be great. Good Panthers fans, be ready for buckle down for the next 2 or 3 seasons to be pretty shitty. Pretty much doing right now.
Rebuild.
We're gonna be in we're doing a Browns rebuild over like a 20-year period.
God, no shit, dude. Oh my God.
But hey, you want to hear about that? C3 Panthers podcast Tuesday.
Yes,
9 p.m.
absolutely.
Which, by the way, you can find me on every Tuesday, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on YouTube. I am the Bat Daddy 52 on Twitter. You can check me out at SCS Podcast 1 on Twitter. Live 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on Fridays here. Sometimes we bump it to Saturdays, depending on how our real world lives are going and things are happening. Sometimes we have to cancel, just depending on what's going on. But most of the time, we're here every Friday, 9 p.m. Audio drops on Mondays, and I'm actually going to download it right now. Go ahead and get it ready, so scheduled to publish. That way I don't forget, because I've been slacking the last few weeks forgetting to publish the episodes. I'll get better about that, I promise. But the audio will drop on Mondays or Tuesdays on any podcast of your choice. Share with a friend, give us a like, write a review, all that good stuff. Come join us in the show, be in the chat room, or hit me up and you can come on the show and talk about something you want to talk about. I know I've had a few fans talking about wanting to do some Stargate stuff, Stargate SG-1, Stargate the movie. Might be some stuff we get into. If you got suggestions for things you want, man, I'm open to hear anything. And we all watch just about everything, or at least give everything a chance for the most part. So, but that being said,
right, Sarah, don't we give everything a chance?
Yes, we'll give everything a chance.
Watch, man. When she gets past that sex scene in episode 2 with John Cena, she's gonna be like, "All right, I'm sold. I'm sold." Like,
thanks. Okay, no, that's it. No, done. No.
Oh, they're bolt-ons. You'll be all right.
Oh, well, if I can get through the sex ghost for Doom Patrol, I guess I'm good.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, it was a different kind of sexy in this one, but yeah,
God,
you'll see what I'm talking about.
Thanks, guys.
All right, we'll get out of here. I'll catch y'all later. Until next week, keep pounding.
Bye, guys.
Later.